Capturing the essence of nostalgia, that powerful feeling associated with the pleasant, personal connections of past experiences, is a common strategy used in the gaming industry nowadays. A lot of developers choose to capitalize on nostalgia rather than focus on creating new gameplay experiences, simply because, well, nostalgia sells. It relies on the passion and undying love that a fanbase has for a game. Sega, the video game company responsible for the success of Sonic the Hedgehog in its golden days, and in charge of rusting up the franchise currently, chose to try and reinvent a new standard for Sonic instead. Eventually, Christian Whitehead, responsible for working on mobile ports of classic Sonic games in the past, brought a prototype of a new Sonic game to Sega titled Sonic Discovery. After seeing it, series producer Takashi Iizuka quickly took on the project in 2015 under the new name of Sonic Mania. Other recognizable members of the Sonic fan community were brought onto the project, including Simon Tomley of Headcanon and Jared Kazel, Tom Fry, and T. Lopes of Pagoda West Games, who have cumulatively worked on ROM ports, unofficial remasterings, and other Sonic fan games. Together, they have ensured that Sega created the nostalgic experience Sonic fans have waited too long to receive. Sonic Mania's story is simple, but is perfect for a game that strives to remix many of the favorite, familiar features of Sonic's past. Taking place after Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and Tails head to Angel Island, a zone immediately identifiable as being the first level from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Upon arrival, Dr. Eggman and his Egg Robos uncover the Phantom Ruby, which allows the ability to travel through time. Eggman uses the Ruby to transport Sonic, Tails, and much to his reluctance, Knuckles, back in time. Together, the trio must travel through new and familiar locations in order to thwart Eggman's plans. It's an easy but brilliant way to see a lot of old locations again. None of the old zones you dash, fly, or glide your way through are exactly what they used to be, and represent exactly the kind of remixed love letter Sonic Mania is all about. The zones all feel familiar, but their assets have been shaken up and reconstructed to create a unique experience that also simultaneously feels new. Every zone's level layout provided several pathways to navigate through and choose from. Even if you think that you messed up and fell off track, there's always another route available to you at that point in time to continue speeding down. That's incredible level design if I've ever seen it. It speaks both to the brilliance behind the attention and imagination put into new stages, and the creativity behind breathing life into the old stages. Every act of every zone is accompanied by a boss fight. A lot of the boss fights are cunning, tongue-in-cheek callbacks to bosses in the past, or even non-traditional Sonic games in general. These battles in specific are probably my absolute favorite part of the game, as they were completely unexpected and joyously realized. The other boss fights, on the other hand, were just lame. It made me think they were only designed to fulfill the boss per act quota they initiated in the game. If these fights were removed, and only left the game with one boss per zone instead, the already tremendous boss fights would have stood out even more. Extra stages in the game are again a result of the development spearheads knowing what fans like the best from the traditional Sonic games and reworking them into Mania. Remixing is what makes this game feel both so new and familiar. Special stages now transport you to the UFO chase sequences from Sonic CD. However, instead of hunting down time stones, you're rewarded a Chaos Emerald. Bonus stages that are unlocked by dashing through checkpoints under certain circumstances have been replaced by the special stages prominent in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Instead of hunting down Chaos Emeralds in these stages, completing them instead unlocks coins, which are responsible for expanding the extra features attached to the game outside of the main adventure. Items from all the classic Sonic games have been grouped together in Mania, as well as one or two new items meant to shake up the dynamic a little bit. As soon as you're done gawking at the absurdly wonderful amount of Easter eggs, callbacks, and mashups that the story has to offer, you can challenge yourself to time trials, or challenge a friend to a race in any level of your choosing in competition mode, taken straight from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. These modes don't necessarily project the game's excellent commitment to nostalgia, but if you spend some time collecting all the coins in the story, there's definite payoff, with a sound test mode, complete access to the Blue Sphere bonus stages, and most enjoyably, access to a Mean Bean Machine minigame that you can play against a friend or against AI. The recurrent theme of this review so far is basically creating the feeling of nostalgia so well that the familiar feels fresh and the fresh feels familiar. Every aspect so far has been tailored to create the sensation without fail. Even the upbeat, adrenaline-filled chiptune melodies of Sonic's soundtrack are treated to newly curated rhythms in the new zones, which feel exactly at home with the greatest, courtesy of T. Lopes from Pagoda West Games. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all have new animations, and their gameplay have been tweaked to feel as tight and responsive now as we thought it did back then. Sonic Mania also pokes fun at the company's pastimes, if you can catch it, and also leans into some of the biggest internet humor centered around the game in the form of the unlockable and Knuckles mode. I'll let you figure out what that mode is like. The game is so focused on treating classic Sonic like it's new again that you kinda have to point out some issues with the game that translated through as a result. Sonic Mania is just as frustrating a platforming experience as any classic Sonic game. It's rarely unfair, it's just mostly difficult, as the blend between fast-paced spinning and speeding and carefully jumping and maneuvering doesn't always mix well, with one seemingly always having to take precedent over the other in order to actually complete a level. Also, having to restart a zone from the very beginning after getting a game over creates tons of stress and tension, and has ultimately caused me to take the game much slower than intended from time to time. Or, in one case, exploiting the game to get an extra life. Some bosses are often multi-staged, and a checkpoint in between stages would help alleviate some of the pressure from having to restart a zone from the beginning. That being said, issues like these are certainly a product of their time, but they are inherently part of what makes Sonic the challenging, unique experience that drew such a large fanbase to begin with. It's difficult to fault the game for that. Sonic Mania is a game that's meant for the hardcore Sonic fanbase who grew up with the franchise and has been wishing for a return to form for a long time. It's only really a problem for more casual Sonic players who are looking to get in on the Mania. They'll see what's made Sonic so great for so many people, but that includes a level of difficulty they might not be expecting. Sonic Mania is reassurance to the fans that Sonic is still great, and that Sonic still means something. Sonic has been stumbling and tripping over his feet for a very long time, and I'm glad to see the Blue Blur finally regain his composure. This game manages to capture the nostalgic feelings gamers have for a classic franchise, but also makes it feel like they're experiencing it again for the first time. While the level of difficulty may come as a downside, that's part of classic Sonic's charm, and has no significance towards the gratuitous amounts of Easter eggs, references, and callbacks packed into every level and every feature of the game. I can't wait for Sega to take this game's success into consideration when evaluating the future of the franchise, because I'd love to see more 2D Sonic games like this one.